Welcome back to the Chaos and Caffeine podcast. I'm Relias Squatch, and this is episode 38, Energy and Emissions KPIs to Save Your Job. We'll dig into the numbers that keep the lights on, the plant humming, and your paycheck coming. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Chaos and Caffeine. This will be episode 38. And after just putting over $100 worth of gas in the tank of my vehicle and looking at energy costs recently, figured it's time to bring it up yet again. Now, I've been talking about this for a long time, and we are going to really get into it a bit today. If anything else, I'm going to be referring to some of what I'm talking about, other presentations I've done in the past. I'm going to talk about a few other things, all related to how to tie your reliability and maintenance program directly to something in the P&L, which I've been talking about for a really, really long time. And I get pushback from a ton of people that all of a sudden now it's a thing to help them with their marketing. So let's first get started because we're going to need lots of energy today. And I went ahead because I didn't have a chance to stop by. It's really early in the morning. I got started today, probably about 5 a.m. A lot to do. We've got some new product coming out, something I'm developing this weekend with my folks, having to do with being able to plug in the Empower through a cabinet face. So I need to get some pictures together of that. We got all the bits and pieces for it because everybody goes, we can't open the cabinet. Well, we're going to eliminate that problem. In any case, we are going to be drinking Waken the Neighbors. This is a Black Rifle coffee. It's not the first time I've featured it here, but I didn't get a chance to stop by Starbucks. Next week I will, because I want to try out the protein coffee if it's still there. I haven't done that yet. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. And here we go. Made it stronger than the last time. Oh yeah, this is good. I can't see anything past the top of the cup, so it's rainy and wet outside, so it's really bright in here today. I turned the lights on. Usually I do with the lights off and a little background lighting, but today, cloudy, rainy, perfect weather for this. So let's get into a few things. So the whole concept about energy and reliability, I didn't just start recently. This is something I've been involved in my entire career, starting in high school. Actually, before that, but we'll start at high school in about 1982. Yeah, I'm that old. So that would have been about my junior year. And in that case, I worked at Amoco Labs on the Amoco Ultimate, and we were looking at the energy impact of some of the synthetic oils. So I was in the lab working on that type of stuff. 2 years there, learned a lot. I went into the Navy instead of going to McMaster University like it was kind of originally planned, but needed to do that. Then I went on to, after I got out of the military, to work on first my bachelor's. That project included this book, Repair Specification for Low Voltage Polyphase Induction Motors Intended for Pulse Width Modulation Inverter Applications. Published it in 1997 based upon my work from 1993 through 1996. And to be quite honest, this was probably one of the first books on how to deal with PWM drives because they were damaging insulation systems at the time. Now, you also have to remember, I've been in parallel, especially at this time, involved with IEEE and all the standards development, as well as the U.S. Department of Energy and all the challenge programs. Matter of fact, very heavily involved. My employer at the time, Dreisilker, funded a lot of that. I funded the rest myself, but that was the first one. And then in 1997 came this one, a little thicker. a novel approach to electric motor system maintenance and management for improved industrial and commercial uptime and energy costs. So I was already working heavily in the area of reliability of electric machines, and this is a case study and entire document on how to develop a motor management program, which we had implemented at a facility. And the impact was so great there that we were taking the savings and the energy savings and putting it back into the maintenance program. And that allowed us to really grow out this program at a paperboard company. What was interesting is while we were making improvements, this plant had weekly fires and everything else. They had injuries constantly. They were bringing in low-cost maintenance workers who were shoving their hands in blades and stuff like that. We took that plant. Not only did we have the money to improve the energy from the energy costs alone, because that's all we did. We measured that. There were all kinds of other benefits that went along with it, but then we rolled that into everything else. So I'll have a link to this. Then came 1999. Now in 1997, right after completing this, I had moved on and took up a adjunct professor position at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and also as a senior research engineer for the Energy Resources Center, focused on industrial and utility with some commercial energy programs. Now, also, I forgot to mention 1994 through 1996, I was the IEEE U.S. representative for Midwestern Utilities for the 10 Midwestern states, Region 4. So everything I'm doing now is just a culmination of all that during my career. All the other cool stuff that I get to do all builds upon that, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I didn't just suddenly come out of the blue, get a degree, and rush in the field. No, it takes years of experience and everything else. This one is a novel approach to industrial assessments for improved energy, waste stream process, and reliability. There'll be a link to this one too. This book, basically, the whole program we developed became adopted for doing industrial assessments later in the in some of the programs, Save Energy Now, for instance, in 2005 and on. Then my next published book came about in 2001, and that was Motor Circuit Analysis, Theory Applications, and Energy Analysis. It basically was how to utilize on and offline systems such as the Altest, because I was working there at the time, Altest motor circuit analyzers and online equipment, electrical signature analysis, which I'd started my research in 1997 after having bad experiences with it prior to 1996 from a couple of the commercial entities that had the technology out there, really didn't know what they were doing with it. So in any case, this was on winding analysis for motors and transformers. The focus was on electric machinery again, a significant area for improvement. Then we skip forward, and the second edition of that book I actually called Electrical Motor Diagnostics, but we referred to it as second edition because it was a build-off of that book. And it goes through, and of course, I go from a couple hundred pages to 400 pages of a lot of how to troubleshoot, how to understand the standards, what everything meant. There's not a lot of these left. I think I still have them in ebook. The printing company, which is no longer a printing company, keeps asking me for these on back order, and I keep saying it's no longer in hardcover print. I only have a couple of these left that I've used for training programs. I'm working on another edition. I just finally found the original text, published in 2008, and it won a silver award for textbooks, technical test books. The same time came this one, because what we had done as part of the program after I left Altest, I went into consulting first with another company, but what I found was their focus was on basically they wanted me to walk in and bring a whole bunch of consultants with me to generate income versus going in and solving customer problems. So that's not how I'm designed. So I like solving problems and taking care of issues, not swamping a company with consultants that basically don't provide anything, which is a lot of them, unfortunately. But went into to General Motors, ended up winning 5 People Make Quality Happen awards. That also got me involved in hybrid vehicles and electric vehicles and the like. And at that time, came out with physical asset management for the executive. The kind of funny story behind this one was being at a conference, and there were 7 leaders in the industry, which include myself on a panel. I was the last speaker up, and it was like each one said, you must have an elevator speech to say to your CEO why your job is important. And my response at the end was, what the heck are you talking about? The average maintenance and reliability person is not going to be standing in front of the CEO of a large corporation, for example. Well, except that I did. But that's neither here nor there. I was sent to shoot the engineers and ship the product for the hybrid Tahoe, and then got indirectly involved in the Volt and some of the stuff there before going on to like the hybrid 644 and 944 tractor work at John Deere, which I had some level of a lot of contribution in 644, a little less than the 944, and then did a lot of training for a while. It's not often you get to say that you worked for John Deere by teaching them how to build tractors. But that one won the Bronze Axiom Award in 2008. I don't know if you can see it behind me because I've got the other big screen up. There's a reason for that. And then finally, we got the practical electrical and current signature analysis of electrical machinery and systems. That's available online, as well as I use it as a textbook. I am working on the second edition. I have had to continuously apologize to my publisher because I have a crap load of work going on. In any case, this is the textbook behind much of my latest work in reliability, maintenance, energy, and emissions work, tying directly to predictive maintenance and so on. So why am I going on with this stuff? Well, first, let's get another sip of coffee because I'm going to be talking a lot today. And we're definitely going to be a little long today, but it's an important topic. It really is. Again, I always have said we need to include energy, if not energy and emissions, into the KPI for reliability and maintenance programs. And I got a lot of pushback. Why? Because it solves a lot of problems. It directly ties to the C-suite. Well, if you are a mega consultant and you want to not actually accomplish anything but charge a lot of money, or you're selling dummy lights, wireless IoT devices that really just tell you that a fault has occurred, and I'm seeing way too much of that. But neither here nor there. For those who have been sending me stuff, that's part of what I'm working on this weekend and next weekend. So you'll see some responses. I got field projects I have to finish up too. And my people are trying to help me coordinate all that stuff. We're going to be expanding this year, yada, yada, yada. So, there's a lot going on. But pushback. We can't get information on energy. We can't do this. We can't do that. We can't do a lot of things, apparently, but we sure can calculate imaginary numbers like cost avoidance. Yep, you heard me say it. Cost avoidance I cannot tie to anything in a corporation. I cannot tie it to the P&L. I cannot tie it to WIFM for any management types. I can't tie it to squat. Don't worry, I'll get into talking Navy in a little bit, I'm sure, but neither here nor there. And by the way, Brian, go Navy. In any case, when we start talking about this stuff, I'm going to show you. I was told I can't get this. I can't get this. Well, one of the examples I'm going to show is this one, where I was told for ages there is no way that they could get the energy in half-hour increments for their facility. Well, guess what this is? Multiple years from 23 to now of interval readings for two interval meters for a small facility that supposedly they couldn't get. Bunch of other stuff too. For instance, I see consultants run around trying to sell you on we can reduce your energy bills and so on. Did you know that that's often covered by services from your utility? All you have to do is call and ask. Yeah, it's interesting. And usually they do a pretty good job because they bring in a third party, usually somebody with the certifications I have, certified energy manager, or more importantly, certified measurement and verification professional. Okay, these are government approved, meaning that I need the CEM and CMVP to do certain types of programs and provide certain data that the utilities will actually believe. So not hard to do. Go to AEE. Or if you're outside of the U.S., there's other organizations that provide that, and it all ties back to standards. That's why you always hear me pushing on standards. I just ran into one this week where a company had come up with a new, more precise way to do something with DC motors. I'm just going to say it that way because I don't want to degrade what the person is doing because it's their sales pitch. But all it was no different than a standard doing that right from the standards. But it didn't follow standards. There was no difference in it versus anything else. We'll just say I didn't see why you need to make it that complicated unless you're selling a service. And that's often what we see is make it complicated, make it complicated. Well, if you want a quick assessment of your utility bill and even possibly a one-day walkthrough assessment of your plant, and there's going to be common things. We're going to address those in a minute. There's even government programs. Small and medium businesses can go, and there's energy resources centers like the one I ran all throughout the United States that will provide a 1 to 2 day free assessment. There's students that are specially trained on going in along with a professor, and there's a checkbox. They will find all of the immediate, simple stuff. And you'll notice when they do that, that a majority of it is based upon the work we did in the 1990s, which focused, and this was part of what I brought to the table along with a team of 75 of us. It was OEMs, repair centers, distributors, end users, small companies like 3M, GM, and everybody else getting involved and saying, hey, folks, did you know that just maintaining your equipment is going to save you more energy than going out and buying a bunch of energy efficient stuff? Yeah, that's right. Actually doing what you should have been doing in the first place will reduce your costs. The smallest number quoted to date says that if you go from a reactive program to just a simple, basic planned maintenance program, will reduce your energy cost by 15%. At a minimum. That's Department of Energy published information. Interesting, isn't it? Because the programs I've been involved in, when we get in there and we start taking a look at things and we start helping improve by doing the maintenance that should have been done in the first place, and we're not just talking about electric motors, we're talking about steam, compressed air, all that stuff. When we start actually doing those things, on average, I see 30 to over 50% reduction in energy consumption. And that's before I start doing light bulbs and motor improvements and all the other stuff. Interesting, isn't it? Once I tie my programs together, there are no-cost systems to do this. We're going to cover some of those. But I'll show you what to do with this one in a minute. But in any case, this is half-hour intervals instead of 15. I prefer 15-minute intervals, but that's per day. And then each day is in here. And then you'll see it'll start over again at some point. And the reason for that is multiple meters at the facility. And it's available because then I can start tracking and seeing what's actually going on. Worst case is I just take the energy bills and I use the Department of Energy's Verify software. So let's start chatting. Some of the things, the big things I prefer when I'm going to talk about some of this stuff. The biggest things I prefer as I go through everything is not making it complicated, avoiding complicated stuff. The job is to keep the plant up and running. But at the same time, we need to be able to support the programs that we're doing. So let me just quickly show you a couple of things here. This is a novel approach to industrial assessments. Academia posted on their site. That's that book from way back when. It goes through everything, and then a lot of case studies, and goes right into specific case studies from the food. You'll see this all food processing, but this is basically from the food processing project I ran for the state of Illinois. So it was all about where the opportunities are in food processing for energy improvements. This is a little compressed air through maintenance and reliability opportunities when I had put together. That's based upon, let's see, here we go. An article we wrote. This is just from one plant. So in 2004, I had contacted the Department of Energy, some of my contacts there from the 1990s, and said, guys, I need help at GM. We want to adopt all the best practices that we had developed over time. How can you help me do that? We'll call you back this afternoon. Well, my contact had gone in to meet with the the Secretary of Energy that day. They had a meeting about how they were going to deal with the rapid increase in natural gas costs, which is why I keep hearing, we need to put in more natural gas plants and eliminate all this other stuff. And it's like, I remember when gas prices went up so high, everything skyrocketed. Kind of like right now with oil and gasoline, right? So in any case, this one was, we had put together just a steam walkthrough, a 3-day assessment paid for by the Department of Energy, identified and implemented over $750,000 in reduced energy costs associated with just steam. All of it was based on maintenance. Maintenance. We didn't have to put in a new steam system, a new boiler, nothing. None of that crap. We went out and used infrared and identified where we were missing, lagging. So heat loss. This is all calculated values. And you can calculate the dimension and how much is coming through there. Steam traps. Things like that. It was just basically all of the simple stuff. Now these talk about steam scoping tool, assessment tool, and 3E plus, which let's go back here, which are no longer supported as individual tools. They are, however, in Measure. So Measure, let's see if it starts up okay. Okay, well, this is the PowerPoint. There's an online version of Measure. Here's Verify. This is the energy tracking tool. You can put in your energy costs. It keeps track of the weather. You can put in all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, Justify, which is a tool for taking a look at KPIs and metrics for manufacturing facilities. Yes, software exists to develop the KPI already agreed, already meets standards, already ties to what you can do if you want to talk over to your utility. There's, of course, case studies, citations, everything else involved. Oh, nothing in there, I guess. Do they have them in here? No, of course they don't. Go figure. I was thinking I was going to be opening up the actual, because this is Oak Ridge National Labs. Here we go. Measure. This is the online version of it. And this is probably going to slow down my speech and cause me to skip a little bit. So sorry if that occurs. But here it is. There is nothing. Oh, and if you want, you can don't have to save anything online. You can actually do all this locally on your computer and download the software. You do not have to run it online. I'm just doing this for whatever. So in any case, all of the STEAM assessment, there it is right here. Okay, I can create an assessment, and then I can do all the stuff that we had done way back when. There's things like treasure hunts, which say, okay, go out and let's see if we can come up with a way to calculate what our potential saving is by doing whatever practice. All the calculators and everything else in here. Don't want to do an update right now. That's what it stands for. Manufacturing Energy Assessment Software for Utility Reduction. Measure. In any case, all of these tools are available to you to start building that KPI to provide you the evidence necessary to go places. Let's take a look at, there's motor inventory, but let's take a look at pump example just for fun. Okay, got it. It's going to walk you through everything, but you can go through and you put in basic information, and then you go through and you get the field data, and then it'll tell you what you need to do. You know, how do you do all this stuff? I mean, heck, it even helps you calculate the head and everything else. All the things. If you don't know a lot about whatever, it'll help you do it. So they're not magic, not really. If you want to call it magic, you can, but you can go through here and do a bunch of stuff. Equipment calculators. Let's go through and say I said I want to go through and I'm seeing problems, so let's do power factor correction. I can go in, I can put in the power factor information I have I can even use the tools that I have. And a lot of this, by the way, and people, you're trying to sell something. Well, to be perfectly honest, a lot of this stuff will often involve simple tools that you probably already have. Okay, so these are other calculators. Energy saving associated with reducing electrical usage, CO2 emissions for different things. When I get down here, you'll see there's stuff for doing different sizes. Here's working with the fan curves, lighting replacement calculators, motor calculators for repair versus replace. Here's an example, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see that there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of stuff. And there's training classes available that are no charge that go along with this. So that's measure. And then we have the other stuff. But doing that with just a 3-day assessment, going back to this, just STEAM alone. I mean, this is where I won all those awards, right? So huge opportunities exist there. And I can do stuff. Let's go ahead, and it's been a little bit, but let's go ahead and poor June hasn't been prepped for this, but let's bring June back into the conversation. And we're also going to upload this data. And it won't be able to do some of the things I'm going to ask it to do. So I didn't prep for it. Let's see, where are you? Where are you? A something or other. There you are. So I'm going to upload this into ChatGPT. There we go. Okay, and I got to do a couple other things here because I'm going to move this over so you can see it. There we go. Did you not upload? Okay. Hello, June.
Hello there. It's great to hear from you. What's on your mind today, or what would you like to chat about?
Well, June, we are going to talk about the data I just uploaded. It is energy data in a CSV. It's got some header information on there before the actual charts go up. It goes by meter, so there may be 2 meters in there, so you'll see the numbers. I don't remember which column that is. And then each day by date, that's another column, and then half-hour increments on the horizontal. Could you do me a favor and take the actual data and show me a graph of both meters across the dates by day?
Sure. If you can share the file with me here, I'll go ahead and extract that data and graph it for you. Once I have it, I'll show you both meters summarized by day. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and re-upload this data.
Perfect. Once you've uploaded it, I'll dive right in. Just let me know when it's ready, or if you need any help with that. If you have any other requests or questions later on, just let me know. Take care.
Yep, I have uploaded the data.
I'm not seeing a file yet, so it might not have come through. Could you try uploading it again, or let me know if you need help with that?
Okay, so it's saying that that's unable to display the visualization, but it had uploaded the data. The file starts with A.
No worries. If the upload is being tricky, we can try another approach. If you can describe the data a bit more, like how many days or a smaller sample, I could still guide you on plotting or analyzing it. Or, if you have any key values, I can help talk through insights for the podcast. Let me know what works best.
Okay, so folks, I'm going to pause for just a second because I'm going to cut off the head of the data and then re-upload it. Actually, why don't I go ahead and include that as part of what I'm doing? So here's the data here. So what I want to do is get rid of this stuff. Okay, so right now what that's doing is it's obviously causing a little confusion. There's a lot of lines in here, but the ChatGPT has generally been able to deal with that. So this is a service agreement. I don't need that, so we'll get rid of that. This is the recording date. We don't need this. So the first one is the meter, next one is the recording date, and then this is the 30-minute interval. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then we will go ahead and try this again. So this time I'm just going to upload it first. It could be that ChatGPT is having problems. This often happens. Most of them do. They're being heavily used. Let's try this again. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and upload this. And if it uploads successfully, I should probably see a graph. So that first set of lines most likely caused me a little bit of grief. If it shows up as red again, just means that the ChatGPT is throwing a fit. There we go. Okay, so there's my meter data. Okay, and I have that information. Hello, June. I've uploaded that data. I cleaned up the file a little bit. So the first one is the meter number. The second column is the recording date. And then the rest of them are 30-minute kilowatt intervals. So that's basically you would go across from left to right for each day. Can you do me a favor and graph how many ever meters are there based upon the meter number so we can show the podcast audience?
It seems there was a glitch in generating the graph. Let's fix that. I will re-aggregate the daily data from the intervals and plot both meters over the days. Give me a moment and I'll produce the visualization for you. It looks like I'm unable to run the visualization directly in this environment at the moment, but I can guide you on how to do this quickly on your end or provide a Python script you can run. Would you like a brief step-by-step guide on how to plot it in Excel, another tool, or a ready-to-run Python code snippet I can provide for your own environment?
Not at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this at the moment.
No problem at all. Whenever you need to revisit or have any other topic to tackle, I'll be here to help.
Okay, so let's go back to old school. Now you know why I do not fully just rely on there we go. So here's our daily intervals. So I can come across this way here. And under BC, I'll do an auto sum. Okay, so that's 54.948, and that's 30-minute intervals, right? So that's going to be come all the way down. There we go. Control E. So that's our thing there. Boy, those numbers look awfully high. That could be that I'm doing two different meters, right? Yeah, that's two different meters. So one will be for their big power area, the other one's lighting, most likely. For now, though, let's go ahead, and I am just going to run a graph. So insert graph there. Yeah, so this is the first part, and then this is the second part here. So this is what it looks like for that period of time. I can come across here and turn this to dates. This is my kilowatt hour. So somewhere about halfway is that chart there. So I can then, so actually what I would do is make this one chart and make this one chart, and any improvements I made on either side, I just have to monitor it. I can use ChatGPT, for instance, to go in and do that for me. Let's go ahead and get rid of this stuff. Or I can do, let's go ahead. I got to try one more time. Let's give it one more shot. Why not have some fun? So anyways, so as we go through, things you'll start noticing, and this I absolutely recommend. Do not just calculate the numbers. You want to prove it, because there's no point in going up to management saying, oh, we reduced it by Well, let's see. One of the wireless companies. Oh, we save this much energy by, and most of the time I've seen some of their examples. It's more energy than the system actually produces in the first place. And I'm sorry, perpetual motion machines just do not work. So we're going to go ahead and upload this. There we go. Get a chance to analyze that data, and then I can ask it. Oh, there we go. Surprise, surprise. Yep, there we are.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble responding right now. Please wait a bit and try again.
Okay, so we will type instead. It's nice talking to June, but apparently, as I always say, don't rely on AI all the time. You have to be able to do this yourself. Split this. Try again. What do we want to use? Random forest regression. You can use linear regression, whatever you want. This is more the reliability engineers by definition. It's a branch of industrial engineering. I'm an industrial engineer, so the idea is to be able to go in and start looking at things statistically. We're not going to go to that level. Lost connection, retry. So basically what this is telling me is ChatGPT has completely fallen apart today. Doesn't surprise me, seeing as they had to back out of Sora and everything else. So this is one of those exciting bits that I get. Okay, so in any case, you can see what some of my options are. Low profile analysis, etc., etc. Now, some of this shows up this clean. You will not get the same responses because we do energy work. So it's going through, and we also pay for trained to be able to do our own internal training of our Chat GPT and so on. And it's not cheap. But in any case, so it's asking me, do I want to clean and validate the data, do a baseline energy model? If I'm doing data analytics like this, I do not clean and validate data. You want to use the raw data. You don't start getting rid of anomalies until you know what they are. It's a little data sciencey, I know. Any type of anomaly detection, did something occur that was different? I can then also bring in temperature information, production information, etc. Because there's times if you're a facility and you do everything by the ton, then what you do is you start paying attention to your energy consumption per ton of production, or you do your energy per widget or per 1,000 widgets or whatever else. You can do all of that stuff and then put together your information. And obviously, ChatGPT is not working for us today. So let's get back to the argument. I've wasted a fair amount of time here. I've got to decide whether I'm going to chop out a huge chunk of that or not. I might leave it up there just because I do. But let's get to the conclusion. It is not complicated to keep track of the energy and emissions KPI. It isn't. It's pretty straightforward. And when I do that, that allows me to tie to something on the P&L. One of the biggest costs in operating a business is not headcount. And for that, I absolutely do not like Elihu Goldratt, the man who said, if you are going to tell me that you're saving me money in a company, show me how many heads you've cut from the organization. That's summarized, but it's basically his statement. He saw it the way a lot of MBAs see it, is reduced headcount. So that's why you're seeing all the layoffs right now. It has nothing to do with actual needs. It's we need to drive our prices up because we're not showing any other return. So we need to eliminate people instead and make our remaining people do work 2-3 times as hard. And oh, by the way, we'll toss in that we're using AI to replace those people, which is normally not true. So, yeah. And AI, there is no freaking AI. I keep, it frustrates me more than anything else. Machine learning and data science is what it really is. And people are making these tools up because it's really easy to do it since 2022 using what they call vibe coding. And now I'll call them vibe consultants. And I'm not talking about vibration, that's VIB. VIBE is the same thing as a vibe programmer, meaning they put shit into ChatGPT or whatever and say, blah, whatever it tells them. And people accidentally follow that crap. And we see the results of it. We've seen the results of anomaly detection. I've been out more times lately than not because people have bought into stuff and it doesn't work. And then we have to go in and help them sort out the disasters. We're actually about to triple the size of our offices, or maybe we won't because everybody's on the road anyways, but neither here nor there. So next week I get to go to Argonne National Labs and talk about the reliability on the utility side of power generation, and then the week after going to the Hill to say, "Arg, what are you guys doing?" On energy and related topics, primarily in the power generation side, but really this is a big piece of this, right? So, folks, if you want to have an impact, and this is where I summarize everything, if you want to have an impact on your job, maintaining your job, getting what you need, the resources you need for your reliability and maintenance program, I extremely, highly recommend tying it to something that corporate will understand. Now, and those things include energy, right? No, you need to do OEE and this and that and the other thing and EBITDA and all this other crap. And I've taken all the courses and all that stuff, and I've looked at it and I go, nobody listens to this stuff unless you're investing in a company. You know, EBITDA or whatever, however you want to pronounce it, basically is a number that overinflates the value of a company. It didn't exist a few years ago, and now it's everywhere because people want more money for less. It's just like the time I went and was going to buy a vibration company because I needed to expand, and this is in the early days prior to 2008. And so I went out there and I was about to purchase the company, and I said, okay, I've done a valuation on your company. Here's how much it's worth. And they came back and they wanted 100 times what I said. And I go, where the heck did you get this? You guys are in debt. You're about to go bankrupt. Why on earth would I pay you that money? Well, I built the company. Okay, that's fine, but the company doesn't have that kind of value. Well, but I know what you could do with it. Well, but you're not putting that investment in. I am. So this is my success, not your success. I just wanted the equipment and the people already in place. I couldn't use his customers because he didn't have any left. He'd scared them all off. So, when I start seeing that stuff, it's like, I want to see real numbers. And why I say you have to measure it, because you can't manage what you can't measure, right? We have all heard that. But let's take lighting. Lighting's my favorite because we just did one recently in a warehouse where we discovered that the lighting company, because it's all done by calculation, okay, we're going to put in so many LED lights, and they put the cheap shit in, and we're going to replace your high bay lights with these LED lights. They put it in, they put the wrong temperature light in, that's color temperature. And so it was glaring, it was rough on the eyes and everything else. And the energy costs went up by 1%, not down by the 20 they claimed, because of all the harmonics that were present, because they didn't mitigate the harmonics. We got the 20%, but it cost them more because we had to put filters in. We were called in after the fact. But neither here nor there. In any case, energy emissions has a huge impact. It's going to reduce the cost of operation for your company. If you tie it to your reliability and maintenance program, you're more apt to not find that you're the first ones laid off. If you can show that value to your company, great. If you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. I will continue doing successful programs. I will continue keeping my customers' employees employed. You go do your thing. I'll probably meet you at a new company when you can find work. So that's neither here nor there. By the way, like and subscribe this because I'm going to forget to say that. In the meantime, yeah, we help people in this stuff. We have the practical approach to it. We have succeeded over and over again. We do not publish our customers. They are definitely some of the largest on the planet. But we don't do it because I'm sick and tired of, well, if Howard's there, we can do it too. Well, MotorDoc's there because we can do it. We have done it. We have proven it over and over again. And everybody else follows along saying, well, they make it look easy, so we obviously can do it. And they can't do it. They cannot do it. There's a lot of claims out there, but they'll hit you with a ton of people. I did General Motors, one person, 1 week a month. The company I had gone in there with wanted me to put one person at all 74 plants full time, plus a program manager, plus a this, plus a that, plus a whole staff, plus a building. Ended up being, they said, you're the most expensive consultant we've ever had. And I said, yeah, stop looking at the individual, look at the company. Now, mind you, I had 7 engineers working for me. But, you know, when they took a look at us as an organization supporting them, we were the lowest cost they ever had. And with that, just remember what I said. Whiff them and keep it going. I'm going to chop this up a little bit. I got to get rid of that extra piece in there. Unfortunately, ChatGPT is not working as it's supposed to. So I will have a little bit in there, but I'm chopping out most of it. For those who are interested, I am going to link to the full assessment 2-hour course I gave a while back that had to do with what we were doing at the Energy Resources Center. And reach out, email me, contact me through LinkedIn. As we can, we provide some, we can answer questions. If we're not available, we know who can take care of you. You might be surprised at some of them because I tell you, some of the bigger names, I don't know what the hell they're up to, but it has nothing to do with this. In any case, with that, have a great day. Have a good weekend. Happy Easter. I have to get back to work. We've got reports and other stuff to get out. I know it's the weekend, but weekend's when I get most things done. Have a great rest of your week. And next week, we're going to talk about the Iberian Peninsula again and what happened there. I have the conclusions. We've gone through it. I've got a few things to help you through it in English and why that happened and why inverter-based resources, wind, solar, and energy storage is far, far more important than people are letting on, even when they aren't spinning.